So today I'm going to be doing a client makeup transformation tutorial. Hi guys, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Cetaphil Makeover. If you're new here, you're highly welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. So please do not forget to like, comment and subscribe. So first thing, I cleansed her face with my Blossom micellar water and my cotton pad. Then I went ahead to hydrate her skin with my Keys Beauty Fix Spray. After hydrating it, I dried it before I moisturized with my Cetaphil moisturizer. So after moisturizing the face, I had to dry it up with a fan. Then I went ahead to prime the face. I'm going to be using this TM Essential Mattifying Primer to prime her face. So when using a mattifying primer, always avoid the areas underneath the eyes. My client has a combination skin, so I'm only applying this primer on the oily areas on her face. After that, I went on with my orange corrector. I'm going to be applying it on the areas underneath her eyes. As you can see, she has dark circles, so this would help to cover it up and fill it up. So after that, I blended it with my brush. So I went ahead using my finger to blend it properly so that it will look smooth. After that, can you see how I have covered the whole dark circles? So next, I'm going to be applying foundation. I'm going to be using my Eyebrow foundation in the shade 05. So I'm just using my damp beauty sponge to apply and blend it all over her face. So after blending in the foundation, I'm going to be locking it up with this Keys Beauty Fix Spray. This would help the foundation not to move. Then I dried it up immediately using my fan. Next, I'm going to be contouring her face. I'm going to be using my Flawless Ivy concealer to contour her face. So the reason why I'm just applying and blending, I don't want it to dry on her face. That's why I'm applying the contour and dry and blending it immediately. So moving on to cream blush, I'm going to be mixing these two shades of orange from my Blossom Lip palette and apply it above her contour and a little bit on the tip of her nose. Then I went ahead to blend with my beauty sponge. So after blending it, the next thing I'm going to do is to highlight her face. I'm going to be using this Flawless Ivy concealer in the shade 407 to highlight her face. So at this point, I had to drag her skin up in order to blend the areas underneath her eyes very well. You know, she has extra skin, so it's best you do it this way in order to avoid patches or not being blended well. Then next I did the same thing on the other side of the eyes. After that, I'm going to be setting the concealer with this Sasha Buttercup setting powder. But before setting, I went ahead to blend the areas underneath her eyes again to avoid creasing. Then next I'm going to be setting with my brush instead of my beauty sponge. You can use your beauty sponge or use your brush or puff to set, but I'm using my brush today because I'm trying to set everything properly, especially the areas underneath her eyes. Those areas that are deep, you need your brush that would go in to set. So you still need to raise the skin up in order to blend the areas very well, because it's deep. If you don't set properly, you won't like the result. So I did the same thing on the other side. Before I did her chin, her forehead, the bridge of her nose. So the next thing I did was to set the rest of her face. I mixed these two shades from Adventure Oil Control Powder palette to set the rest of her face. For dry contouring, I'm going to be using this shade from the same Adventure Oil Control Powder palette. This shade is 2 shades darker than her skin to set the cream contour I applied earlier. So next I'm going to be using the same shade I used to contour her face to contour her nose. So after that, I went back using my powder brush to blend everything together. So after that, I went ahead to set the face. This would help to reduce the brightness on the face and helps it set and blend well. After setting it, the next thing I did was to dry it. After drying, I went ahead to bake with the same setting powder I used in setting her face. Moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my spoolie brush to brush her brows first. Then I went ahead using my brow thumb to lay the hair nicely. Then next I'm using my Karite gel liner and my angled brush to outline her brows. So I'm doing that following the shape of her brows. So after outlining the brows, I'm going to be highlighting the brows with the same concealer I used to highlight her face. Then I used my brush to blend immediately. So I did the other brows following the same method. So I did a little touch up on the top of her brows using the same foundation I used on her face. Then next I'm going to be setting the concealer with the same powder I used to powder her face. So next I'm going to be using my Viange eyeshadow base to prime her lid. Moving on to eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this color as a transition color. So first of all, I applied it on the outer corner of her lid, then blended it towards the inner corner of her lid. So next I'm going to be using this darker shade on the outer corner of her lid. So I went back applying more of the transition color on her crease. So next I used this shade of powder to blend everything out. After that I did the other eyes following the same method. So I went back using that brush I used in applying the eyeshadow base. I used the brush to blend in before I applied eyeshadow on it. So next I'm going to be using my Blossom eyeshadow palette. I'll just take this shade here and apply it on the inner corner of her lid. So next I'm going to be using this darker shade of powder from Adventure Oil Control Powder palette. I'm just gonna use it to line, like to draw a line on her crease. So I went ahead to blend it. So I went ahead to apply the outer corner of her lid. So next I added this shade from my powder palette because I wanted a little bit of color on her lid. So I went ahead using my brush to blend. So next I used my Karite gel liner, the black shade, and my angled brush to line her upper lash line. Then next I'm going to be using this pencil to line her lower lash line. So next I used my powder brush to blend the face again. So I already prepped her natural lashes with my mascara. Then next I wore her lashes. After that I'm going to be applying this peach color blush on her cheeks. So moving on to the lip, I'm going to be using this nubanbeauty lip stain to outline her lip. Then next I use this pepper red from nubanbeauty in the middle. So next I'm going to be dusting off the excess powder on her face. After that I went ahead to use my Maivels Glow Dust highlighter and apply it on the areas I want to highlight to pop. So I already applied mascara on her lower lashes. I guess I didn't record that part. Well, yeah. So I went back to outline the lip again because it was not really showing that much. After that I set the face with my Kiss Beauty Fix Spray. So next thing I did was to dry it. After drying it, I'm using my Cosmetic cheek glaze on her face because it helps the face to glow. So lastly, I'm going to be sealing it up with this Pro Seal spray. This would help the makeup to last for a very long time. Yeah, and this is the final look, guys. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.